Who has ever had a wet nightmare, if that's even possible? What was it that made it a nightmare? Had a dream once that I was cheating on my GF and then got caught. Proceeded to be publicly humiliated and shamed by her and the rest of my family because of my unfaithfulness. Weirdest part was that I don't have a GF in real life. The saddest among all the comments. I actually had a dream last night that my wife pulled me into our bedroom to have sex. She got naked and laid on the bed and dreamed me as like, yes, but then, wife and dream just started crapping. Still trying to get me to join in sexy time. And dream me as like trying to be nice and subtly mention maybe she needs to go to the bathroom like she doesn't realize she's peeing out of her butt all over the bed. Then I woke up in a poop free bed. So that was nice. Thanks for this comment. So when I was younger lad just hitting puberty, I was staying at my gmaw's house on some school break. It was a very creepy old house and I always thought it was haunted. I still vividly remember getting woken up by getting a BJ by some ghostly lady in a white wedding dress. Pretty sure it was sleep paralysis wet dream. I don't want to experience that ever again. I was a teen girl at the time, maybe 13 years ago. I was having intercourse with a female. I'm straight. And get this, I was the one with a penis. But my penis didn't thrust in and out of her. It just kinda stretched when I'd move my hips backward, kinda like stretching chewed gum. Like stretched comically thin and long. I woke up with that vague feeling that I may have actually been moaning in my sleep. Oh, and I was sleeping next to my mother that night. I also had a dream of having an extremely thin and long dong. I remember holding it in my hands and being so fascinated by my pencil dong. As a woman, it was a really weird freaking dream. Once before waking up, when I was slightly aware of my surroundings but unable to move, I dreamt that I was a girl and was being raped by someone I couldn't see, while still knowing I was in my room and unable to move. I'm a guy. Managed to fully wake myself up eventually. It was actually one of the worst dreams I remember. That's some weird sleep paralysis, my dude. When I was 11, I dreamt that a lizard man attacked me, like in trying to kill me. Then I remembered that lizards of the dinosaur kind do not have penises, but a hole, so I raped him in self-defense. He was quite surprised and horrified. Me too when I woke up. So I raped him in self-defense. Indeed, the most logical course of action. Started getting a blowy from a woman on a motorcycle, but as I watched, said lady turned into a demonic George Bush who was not on a motorcycle, but actually part motorcycle from the waist down. Even so, I jizzed inside that unholy presidential motor centaur. Even so, I jizzed inside that unholy presidential motor centaur. Well, that's enough internet for today. Last week I had a bad nightmare. She chased me because I said dang it's hot as heck in heaven in front of God. God turned into a demon and ran after me down the stairway that I walked up to get to heaven. So while getting chased by a demon, it slammed me on the ground and started moving her lips across my body, attempting to eat me. It instead decided to give me Super Soaker Sloppy Toppy Triple Tongue Twister Gork Gork Deluxe 9000 combo on my meat. I woke up feeling awkward as heck. Super Soaker Sloppy Toppy Triple Tongue Twister Gork Gork Deluxe 9000 combo on my meat. I am 100% asking the wife for a BJ with this terminology. Had sex with a two-dimensional person, and the scary part was it felt two-dimensional and disturbed me the whole time I was finishing. Have you never had an ex that you hate? Having forced dream makeup sex is among the worst things. You're turned on but at the same time you emotionally hate every second of it. You wake up all sweaty, with bad thoughts and you're frisky. It's a bad combo. A long time ago I had a dream in which, in a post-apocalyptic scenario, my mom was evil and sold me and my brother, but not my IRL brother, into slavery to some cult. And we were both taken into a gym room and raped by the other kids' teens in the cult as initiation. I fought my attackers off but couldn't get into the other room to save my brother. Yes, I was aroused by the acts but I still fought them. Dream brother showed up in other nightmares periodically thereafter, a lot of which involved a similar scenario, either being abandoned by our adults or being threatened with rape. I always tried my best to save him but it rarely worked, and sometimes I didn't manage to fight off my rapists either. After many years I dreamt he was a junior in high school and told me he could make it on his own from now on. and I figured I would never dream of him again. Then I had a nightmare he was abducted by evil Mads Mikkelsen and kept for several weeks, tortured, until he managed to overpower his captor, dump him out of an airplane, and escape to Denmark. And that's the last time I dreamt of him. So far, I feel terrible that even in his good ending he still had to go through that, even though he's not actually a real person. IDK. Yes, when I was a kid, I had a dream that I fricked Sandra Bullock. It was great, was also my first dream like that. But after, she got super clingy and I remember being freaked out about how clingy she was getting. I got out of the bed, still dreaming, to get some space, and suddenly my 6th grade math teacher, an elderly Chinese lady, walked in the room naked, demanding to know why I was cheating on her. After a lot of screaming at each other and me, they decided to kick me out of the triangle and made me wait in the corner and watch them frick. It was both arousing, awful and horrific, and made me feel like crap, all at once. Not so much of a nightmare, but a regret. I dreamed that I was at the dentist, lying in the chair, and she told me that I had to perform an act for humanity and she left. Optimus Prime came in and fricked me somehow. I have no answer for the logistics of it. I remember being very frisky but wishing it was Megatron. I'm not even a Transformers fan. I gave in to the embarrassment to admit the dream to my husband the next day. Too funny to keep inside. He agreed that it totally should have been Megatron. So much dirtier. We had good sex that day, my friends. Believe me, this is even weirder for a Transformers fan. Several years ago, after watching way too much Walking Dead and playing Left 4 Dead, I had a dream that I had sex with a zombie lady. It wasn't the dream that creeped me out, it was the fact that I had it. I was terrified I'd become a necrophiliac or something. It was 3 days ago. It was Kim Kardashian, but she had a penis. Started off really hot, but then a gorilla came in and ripped Kim's face off, and she just kept going. She was on top freaking me. I was looking at all the muscles and veins in her face and her blood was dripping on my face. I can only get so erect. I had a wet nightmare once in my early 20s. I was being chased by something but had no idea what it was. I knew that if it caught me, I was going to die, so I was running my butt off up a steep hill. The hill kept getting steeper and steeper until I couldn't run up it anymore. To keep going, I grabbed the grass and used it to keep climbing up the hill until I reached the top. When I got to the top, I turned around and discovered I was running from a dragon, which promptly opened its mouth and lunged at me. I woke up with a start right before it killed me, and came. It was very confusing. Once not too long ago, I dreamed I was lying naked in my bed with some unknown woman. She kept wanting sex, but I kept telling her I was married so we couldn't. I was trying to keep her at a distance with my hand on her shoulder. Then I woke up and my hand was on my wife's shoulder, pushing her away. She was fast asleep. I was actually pretty proud of myself for not giving in to her in my dream, as much as I wanted to. Not exactly a nightmare, but it was definitely uncomfortable. I admire your dedication. Yes, didn't know women could have wet dreams until I had one. It started as a dream but ended up a sleep paralysis where I was raped by a demon and actually came. Very strange thing to wake up to, not very nice. I also have a nightmare like that. It happened in a forest, but when it wasn't a weird shaped with 6 arms demon, it was something like the Slender Man with tentacles and a very long tongue and a big creepy mouth with sharp teeth. It always got me no matter how much I tried to escape. I had a dream I was doing it with someone, then after a while I saw his face and it was a pig who harassed me when I was a child. Now I'm kinda numb when I get wet dreams. That's some weird Freudian psychosexual crap, WTF. Had a nightmare where I was freaking a monkey. Woke up screaming as I came. It still fills me with horror to this day. Ooh, ah. I had a nightmare while pregnant. I gave birth to my wiener dog while shopping at Von Moore and he came out of my belly button. I was so scared I pee myself awake. Does that count? Oh god, pregnancy dreams are the worst. I don't know what was more disturbing. The one where I gave birth to a litter of kittens then forgot them in a hair salon, or the one where the baby Stretch Armstrong had a hand out of my vajayjay, grabbed me by the scuff of the neck, and body slammed me to the ground. I almost never have a nice wet dream. My brain always makes it freaking weird. Freud would have had a field day with me. Glad I'm not the only one here. Here are the two that were so weird that I still remember them. Freaking a bruised and battered torso, no limbs or head, just covered in purple and blue bruises. Watching some of the two ugliest people frickin' a a concrete basement, check. I had a dream where I was turned into a girl and put in a farm for milking. Except the milk was honey. The nightmare part of it is mostly the farm bit. I do not enjoy the idea of doing nothing but stand in place for the rest of my life. I know a lot of people have that fetish. I've seen plenty of art, but I am not one of them. Note, I am a completely cishet male. I remember having one when I was in middle school. Crap was terrifying. Basically, I dreamt that I was haram brutally having sex with Marge Simpson. I don't know why those two characters came to mind, but oh boy was that horrible to experience. The true most ambitious crossover event. I had one when I was about 12. I was on the edge of the puberty and couldn't yet understand all the feelings inside me. I remember that in the dream I was running from some kind of monster in a labyrinth. That was the nightmare part, which is kind of usual for me. But in this dream for some reason at one point I could face the monster and I could also transform into one. This transformation came with a feeling of catharsis and satisfaction, meaning that I also came. I woke up very confused. This sounds like a wonderful metaphor for becoming an adult. I used to get the same nightmare like one night a week from the age of 14 until 20. It would start off as a wet dream. Just standard teen stuff, but it would always end in cannibalism. I got used to the graphic images in these dreams until one time I had a dream about an orgy. It was like a scene of a horror movie. Like 10-15 people just tearing flesh off of each other. I think that one scarred me for life because since then I always get anxious or aggressive after sex. You might wanna get that looked at. I was having a dream where a big, red, demon and I were getting it. He was so scary looking, red, muscular, horns and all, but damn he felt so good. I still remember. I swear this is the 7th hentai plot here. I was being sexually assaulted, but I pulled a knife on him so the dream ended up okay cause he got arrested. Pretty concerning that I had a vivid nightmare about being sexually assaulted though. My fiancé and I are into BDSM. She's the dom. One night I had a dream that after I opened up to her about my past abusive relationship she began abusing me in the same way too. It really fricked me up for days because I love her more than anything, but the dream was so vivid and made it really difficult to dissociate that feeling of terror from the past with her. I woke up trying to scream because I thought I would never escape the fear and hurt. Had a dream that my girlfriend at the time was getting her cowgirl on and she suddenly grew fangs and turned into a vampire succubus with wings etc and was trying to bite me. That turned into a night terror where I woke up and couldn't move, and at the same time she evidently woke up and leaned over, so as I wake proper all I see her leaning over me. She was a nightmare in general though, so actually, I sometimes wonder if it was a dream. I was Luke Skywalker and was being intimate with someone I thought was slave girl Princess Leia, only it was Boba Fett. Jar Jar showed up and used his tongue. I am still afraid this will show up in one of the sequels. That would be an improvement over the sequels we got. I had a dream that I was having sex with Debbie Ryan, but then the walls collapsed and there was a whole camera crew recording without dream me knowing. I thought you said a baby instead of Debbie at first and I almost projectile shitted across the room. Honestly I did. It was my first time ever being in such a dream and it felt real ASF, and when the girl came down on me to kiss, I swear to almighty god her mouth smelled so bad I didn't feel like having breakfast when I woke up, and I could still smell it RN as I am typing this, and it's been over a year. I had a dream where this man had a remote he was gonna use to blow the world up. I was working with him, but I hid the remote and he started to torture the information out of me, but it just turned into freaking. He was attractive though, so it wasn't overly terrible, but I did wake up and think lowly of myself. 10/10 would dream again, especially if I didn't wake up during the sex this time around. I've never had a wet dream or wet nightmare because my subconscious has never allowed me to do the deed. It puts me in a scenario but then puts barriers up that always stop me. Not sure if that's normal or not. Same. Nothing worse than being chronically cock-blocked by your own subconscious. Often, just when things in the dream are starting to get good. Blink eyes open. Oh boy, unfortunately this is applicable to me. I suffered a torn frenulum, the banjo string, that connects your peen head to peen shaft. As a result had to have a corrective frenuloplasty to stitch it. That meant no sexy time with my lady friend or self-love. That built up over time and stimulated wet dreams, except that an erection would stretch the stitches and cause ungodly peen pain. So I'd have dreams of beautiful women orally pleasuring me then chomping down with vicious needle teeth. As my brain constructed a narrative for the pain that began to occur, I actually had to start taping my hood over at the top to prevent it sliding back and stretching the stitches. Why on earth are we built like this to reproduce? Couldn't there just be like a CD tray in a woman's sternum, and when we are excited an internal producer makes a funky cut that painlessly emerges from music gills and then you place it in the tray and everyone orgasms at the key change? You did it all wrong. Hey, I tore my frenulum too. Except I just let mine heal on its own and it actually solved a problem I had with it previously being too tight. I had a dream I was in a flying car that was flying over my childhood home with my friend, and then he turned into a bomber and gave me a BJ and then turned into my mom and threw me out of the car screaming about me not eating my dinner. Also I'm pretty sure the car was being pulled by pigs. Boy, was that a weird dream. It was nice humping and kissing with a sexy woman, but when moved downward to suck breasts and there were 3 bouncy jugs, suddenly realized I'm in a dream, tried to wake up and woke up standing in front of a mirror, and when I tried to look at myself in mirror she suddenly appeared behind me, this time with ugly face, so I was double dreaming, but this second one terrified me and finally woke up to reality. This is like some Total Recall level crap. I don't think I've ever had a dream that felt worse than sleep paralysis. I could accurately hear my house getting broken into and somebody bursting through my bedroom door while I could not move an inch. When I eventually woke up I immediately checked all the locks. I only had sleep paralysis once, didn't know what it was. Had the typical dark figure speaking and foreign tongues sitting down on me. I just instantly went to the PC to Google WTF happened. If I didn't find sleep paralysis, I probably would have become a believer. As a teen I had a dream where I had sex with a praying mantis with tea. I didn't wake up wet, but proceeded to masturbate to the idea anyways. Having sex with a giant bug counts as a nightmare, even if you spank it later, right? Around the same time I also remember dreaming Lisa Bonet was my sister. In my dream we didn't care, and had sex. Still didn't wake up wet. Same deal. Spanked it to her when I woke up. I didn't wake up wet, but proceeded to masturbate to the idea anyways. What the frick? I'm terrified of spiders. Had a dream that this creature with the top half of a woman and the bottom half was spider. Had the biggest sink I've ever seen, so I couldn't resist. You should play Oblivion. I sometimes dream about being molested or raped and being involuntarily aroused by it. I am fairly certain I had a few sleep orgasms over the years too, but I could really do without it. When I wake up I either start crying immediately and am in a terribly fragile emotional state, or I mechanically finish it myself to get it out of my system, and then shove it away. It was with a female family member. We were having sex. I was no longer a female. You get the picture. To date the worst nightmare I can recall, and I've had nightmares about my husband getting tortured for knowing me. There were a couple of entities staring at me, humanoid but not human. They were just so malevolent, and I can't explain it, but one of them made me climax with its mind. I hated every moment of it and was relieved to wake up. So I've posted this before. It was a wet dream, but not in the wet that's described here. I have extremely ticklish feet. One time I dreamt that I was at my house and Ryan Reynolds came over and things were getting steamy. In the heat of the moment, he whispered in my ear, "I have a foot fetish. Is it okay if I suck your toes?" I said absolutely not. I have ticklish feet and I will pee if it gets too much. So he proceeds to go down on the bottom of my foot and, yup, instantly woke up with a soaked bed. Absolutely horrible. I did move fast enough that the pee did not soak through the mattress, but it was so jarring at 3 AM. Screw you brain. Screw you sexy dream Ryan Reynolds. Nightmare. As a teenager girl, dreamed an anime boy appeared in my bedroom, bent me over my nightstand and raped me while tearing me apart. Blood was flowing out of me and cascading down onto the floor. Woke up when I came and was pretty horrified, and glad I was not bleeding out on the carpet, and this is how I experienced my first orgasm. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.